Today we have the pleasure of getting to know singer-songwriter, sun-catcher, and soul full of music, just Mia. Mia, if your voice was a superpower, what effect would it have on the listener, and what would you use it for?
Ah, definitely to evoke emotion. Maybe some parts of you as a person that might need some healing. I think my voice superpower would be to soothe.
Oh wow, like a kind of like an empath mood ring.
Yes.
That would be very cool.
Yeah, it will show you what you need to work on and what needs some healing and attention.
Hmm. Is that something that's important to you in your music in terms of emotionality?
Absolutely. I do, when I write music, I really try to write in such a way that people can relate and that it hopefully could help people through, maybe parts that they need to heal. So there's always a reason behind what I write.
What I've been picking up going through your material
Yes.
is a running theme of love. And you seem to be exploring different perspectives of it.
Yes.
In songs like Here I Go Again and Liefdeslaaf, there's like quite a contentious version of love going on. And then we get like Liggees,
Oh, yeah.
which is very gentle and very soft when it comes to feelings of love. Do you see your songs as a response to one another?
Yes. That's actually a good explanation that you gave there about, saying it's a response. Because obviously, when we go through life, you've got different forms of love, and not all of those forms are always good for you. And I think what you said there about the response is each song that I've written, well, most of them are about love, like you've realized. It's not always necessarily romantic love, it could be a bad friendship or Liggees is definitely about romantic love and also a safe space. And then Here I Go Again is about actually a toxic love, if you listen closely to the lyrics. And Liefdeslaaf I wrote for my husband. So that is like just saying like I will always be here, I make a promise to you. And yeah, most of my songs are about love, but definitely in different forms because in life sometimes you get bad love, unfortunately.
When it comes to writing, I've heard you say that sometimes happiness can even cloud your process because your best song seems to come from your more heavier emotions.
Oh, absolutely, yes.
So is that, since Liggees and since getting married, has that changed?
No, not really. It is hard to write when you're too happy, to be honest. I think a lot of artists would agree. If you're too happy, it's just you need to really dig deep sometimes to find good lyrics. And with Here I Go Again, for instance, it wasn't a romantic love I was referring to, and it was something I was struggling to get away from. And I was in a bad place, so it just came out. But sometimes when I'm happy, I can write songs as well. It's just not as easy. Because it's hard to dig deep when you're so grateful and life is just going good. But I have written songs as well from a happy place. They're just never as good as the dark ones, I guess.
It's so interesting. What do you think makes it so good? Is there maybe something that you unlock or access within yourself when you're writing?
Yes, yes. I think it's like the deep side of one's, consciousness, or your just a side of where you go put away the bad things because you don't want to deal with them. Since I've gotten older, I do deal with them now. But I think when you're something might trigger you, or then it forces you basically to go into that subconscious, if I can put it that way, where you've kind of like buried these feelings. And when maybe something traumatic happens, you're kind of like forced as a writer to go dig it out, which is also cool because it helps you to heal while you're writing. Sometimes I write without even knowing that I'm actually doing some self-care. So yeah.
While we're on Here I Go Again,
Yes.
what I want to know is about the music video. I see that you have a conceptualization credits. So
Yes.
what was it like working on the music video and conceptualizing it with them?
Oh, it was really fun. They're awesome people, and Kirsten himself is a very good musician. Him and his brother, they've got a band together, so they're just amazing artists, and they had great ideas, and it was easy to work with them because I could be very honest. Sometimes it's hard to work with people because, we are all in some way artists are quite precious about their ideas and the way they do things. But with Kirsten and Amore, they were like, we open for anything. And I said, I'm open for anything. I just wanted to, flow, and it doesn't necessarily need to have any storyline. I just wanted to look like moving, with the phrase of here I go again. Like if we can just have movement that kind of indicates, okay, here we're moving, we're going again, we're doing it again. And we just decided to keep it simple so that it, for the viewer as well, it's not overstimulating, but enough stimulation to, be like, oh, this is nice. This is just enough, like a less is more type of situation. So it was really awesome to work with them. I'll highly recommend them to anyone.
I will say, like, they did really great work, and you as well, because watching the
Oh,
music
thank you.
video, I mean, I was like, yeah, I've been in those streets, I've felt those feelings.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, great job.
Oh, thank you so much.
When it comes to your production choices, what I've noticed is that Hey Yay and Postcard, they're a little bit more similar, but Lift This Laugh and Here I Go Again are a little bit more on like a different side of the pop spectrum.
Yes, I totally agree. You're talking about the song itself or the music video?
The song itself.
Oh, yes, yes, yes. I totally agree.
What went into the production choices, the change in direction?
Yes, yes. So, Hey Yeah and Postcard was it was my first debut singles. I decided to release them at the same time together because it was like, hey, this is my first ever song that I'm putting, or songs that I'm putting on the platforms. And at that stage in my life, like I said, it was my first work. I wasn't myself yet. I didn't really know. I just knew I wanted to make music, and I didn't really know who I was as an artist yet. I still don't really know. I think it changes each year, sometimes each day, sometimes each month. But that time it's a very much a different side from me. It was also from my very first music that I wrote. A postcard was someone else wrote that. It was actually a poem that I just put into music. So production wise, I didn't have a lot of say in that, to be honest. I did give my sentiments, and then it was listened to, but because I didn't know as much as I do now, and like the wording to use to explain to them what I needed, what I wanted, I just kind of gave in, if I could put it that way, which is not great. So I would never advise any artist to do that. Like, know what you want before going into it. But that happens when you're young and you don't really know what you want. Sometimes you let other people take the wheel. And I mean, my producer is amazing. Yakuno Dia produced that alongside with Faraway George. And Yaku actually produced a song now that I'm releasing in November called Gun It. And the difference is major because we've all grown, we went through a lot of growth. And with Liefdeslaaf, I co-wrote that with Boer Bosch, and I feel like, and we did the production with Peach van Pletsen at his studio at Planet Awesome, and I think they just kind of put their stamp on it, and that's why it's so much different. But I was so happy when I wrote Liefdeslaaf and it came out the way it did, because I was like, I think I'm beginning to move more towards who I'm supposed to be when it comes to a musical artist. I'm finding myself more. And then Here I Go Again, Tjark van der Walt did that one, and he also put his stamp on that. And that's what I love about working with different producers, is that they all have the signature style. You can listen to music, you'll know this guy produced it or that guy produced it, because they all put down their stamp on it. And I think that's really cool. Like, I can tell them this is what I want, but at the end of the day, you choose a producer that you feel resonates with your style and your craftsmanship. So you have to be careful with how you choose who you choose to do your things and produce your music. But I stick with Yaku from the beginning. He did Hey Yeah, he did Postcard, and now he did Gun It. And it really, the growth in both of us is amazing. And I'm excited for people to hear that. I hope that answers your question.
Perfectly. Is Yaku from Audio Culture?
He is, absolutely. Yeah, he
One
is.
and the same. Amazing. Did you record there?
Yes, I recorded at his home studio actually for Garnet, and then also for Hey Yeah and Postcard. Like I said, that was in the way beginning, and we both grown so much. And I'm so excited for people to hear Garnet because he did an exceptional job.
So Garnet is the next thing that we're going to hear from you.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Are we at all going to hear other originals like Stilblay and Wit en Grys? Are we going to get official versions of those?
Absolutely. I actually had a meeting on Thursday with the other producer, which I did the voice with. But his name's Emil, and he's also a producer. He works for Muse Studios here in Randburg. And he actually produced when I got married to my husband in April, I recorded a cover of Home by Edward Sharp and the Magnetic Zeros. I made a very slow down version, and he recorded that for me. And I'll be releasing that next year on our first wedding anniversary with our music, with our video, like our wedding video. But Emil is going to record my EP for me, if I can put it that way. We're going to do a Afrikaans EP. Going to call it Afrikaans Akoesties, like acoustic Afrikaans, and it will all be originals except for Sonvanger. I'll do a cover of that. But Stilblay, and I've written some new songs. We're going to take Liefdeslaaf and do a more stripped down version of it, maybe a ballad, put some piano in. Just a very simplistic, like an unplugged, not a session, because we will record it in studio, but I want people to hear how I sound basically when I perform live. So it will be very close to my live performances with a bit of extra sounds, like maybe, a bass line or something like that, but very simplistic and stripped down. And that will also be releasing next year sometime. I'm not sure. It's still a work in progress.
Wow, there's so much to unpack there. Oh man, where do I start? Okay. I want to start with something like part of the last thing that you said.
Yeah.
Getting the live sentiment on the tracks.
Yes.
Are there things that you are trying to do to make sure that comes through? Like, let's say, doing the vocal in one take or something like that.
Yeah, I do that most of the time. Like with Gunnet, you will hear every single chorus sounds different because I sang the song through multiple times. I think there was one time that I just reverted back and did not start from the beginning. You're giving me a great idea there. Thank you, Meagan. I think I should definitely do that with this EP, is just sing it once through without just doing it over and over again. I never liked doing that anyway. I just find that there's so much more authenticity and rawness to singing a song from the beginning to end. I mean, you can do it at least 5 times and then just choose the best parts if you want to. But I think with this EP, thank you for, pointing that out, because I'll remember when I go into studio, let's rather do it that way. It's a good idea. Thank you.
That's going to be a challenge, hey? But you're someone who's pretty tight in terms of rehearsal.
Oh, thank you.
So I believe you can do it.
Yeah. Thank you for believing in me. I'm going to try my best, I promise.
Is there something that you do to prepare your voice for maybe a performance or a studio session?
Yes, absolutely. I don't go very intense, too deep into it, but I do vocal warm-ups. I just go onto Spotify. I've got a playlist there that I use that just then for 10 to 20 minutes, I'll do some vocal warm-ups. When I'm on my way to a performance, for instance, I'll sit in the car and just do, the normal warm-ups that I teach to my students as well. And sometimes when I don't have a lot of time, I'll just make sure I at least do a 5-note scale or some scales beforehand. And that's about it. I don't psych myself up or anything like that.
Are there any special elixirs? I always hear recipes, lemon juice, ginger, honey.
Yeah, no, people use that. Ginger is my favorite, I must say. And also honey, if you can get it raw. It has very amazing antibacterial properties, but I would say ginger is your best bet. I actually bought some ginger. It's like a cordial that I bought at a market that I performed at the other day. And I must say that's quite nice. I would buy that again. I just can't remember the name now. But that I make some iced tea as well, throw some ginger in there, put some honey in, and that's that. But I'm not big on, using any pills really. You get like something called Homeovox. And when I was younger and my voice wasn't as strong as it is now, I used to, after 4 hours of singing, then your voice gets really tired. I used to suck on those poles, but I stopped using it when, after a few years, my voice just got trained enough to not, get weak after 4 hours of singing.
I've heard you say that you started singing at age 5 and
Yes,
learned guitar in varsity and then realized that you really wanted to do music.
yes, absolutely.
So what was the thing that made you decide, like, it's now, I'm going to take it seriously, this is the way forward?
So I was like at varsity. There's these, singing groups, basically like a cappella groups. They call it SAR. And I always knew I could sing. I just never was convinced it's like I'm very good at it, like I could make a living out of this. Because I just used to do it at a young age just for fun. I remember my dad told me the people that lived next to us told them they heard me singing as a young child, like as 5-year old, maybe 6-year old. And this woman told my dad, like, you should really take it serious. She's got a good voice. And then, life went by and, you being a child, you're not thinking of, okay, I'm going to use this talent and become a singer, professional singer one day. But I always had it in the back of my mind. I either want to sing or act. And I remember very clearly I was driving because I used to live in the Western Cape. That's where we grew up in Pringle Bay. And we were on our way to Somerset West on the mountain pass. And I just remember how I dreamt in my little mind of, like just in my imagination, how I'm going to sing one day and I'm going to be a singer. And just kind of manifesting. I always tell people this story because I'm like, I did this to myself, be careful what you wish for. And it really happened for me. And I remember, sitting in the car and just thinking of it. And then life went by. I used to sing at some school functions. And then I joined this SAG group, and because they said, yo, you sing nice, please come be part of it. And also with the first year concert, I was also in the choir of the concert, and I did a solo performance too. And then at this like meeting one night, they were like, we're doing mini auditions for a solo that was open for anyone, but they wanted to see whose voice would, make it sound the best. And everyone like freaked out when I sang, and I was like, what? And that really made me realize, like, if people have this reaction, then what am I doing? Like, why am I not also believing in myself the way they are believing in me? And basically the rest is history. Then I started learning how to play guitar. My one friend just showed me a few chords, and after that I just taught myself on YouTube videos, and I just really blindly went into making my dream a reality and not caring what anyone thinks, and just doing it because this is what I want for my life and for myself. And I don't regret anything. I'm very happy.
I'm sure everyone who listens to your music is incredibly grateful that you decided to take that
Oh,
step.
thank you. You're making me blush.
We wouldn't have this beautiful music to listen to.
Oh, thank you so much,
Yeah.
Meagan. I appreciate it immensely.
You mentioned your dad a little bit earlier.
Yes.
Is he musical too?
In some way, yes, he just never developed it. So he's a beekeeper, but he plays a little bit of violin. He taught himself. And I mean, he only taught himself after the age of like 50. I think at 55, he started teaching himself. So he can play a little bit of violin. He can do some, things on the guitar, but he didn't really completely throw himself into it. He doesn't sing though, but he's got a lot of potential, I'd say, to, if he really wanted to take it very seriously, he does have the potential and talent to do it. So a little bit, but not very much. I do get my singing talent from my Oma, my late grandmother. She taught me how to sing. She used to show me the sound of music the film, and I loved it so much. And we used to do re mi fa sol la ti do always, and she really actually evoked that interest and also helped me, like, just work on my talent.
So, how does the rest of your family feel about your music? Like, do they jam to it? Do they enjoy it?
Oh, yes, they do. My dad's very proud. And my aunt, who is like my mother, she raised me. It's my mom's mom. She's also very proud of my music. She doesn't always get the modern, like they're quite old school. But I do love doing old school music too. But like very old, she loves her old school Afrikaans, and I'm not very into that. But I like more English old school music. It depends on who the artist is when it comes to Afrikaans, because I also like Afrikaans music. But it would be like Lorica Rao or Jan Blom, that type of music. But yeah, my family loves it, and my husband's family as well. They all support me in my journey.
That's so good to hear. We don't hear that often enough.
Yeah, there's ups and downs. Like I do have some family members that just, yeah, I don't ever hear anything, or there's just no support. But I also told myself in the beginning when I started doing this, not everybody's going to understand my journey, and blood is not thicker than water. I know it sounds terrible to say this, but it's not. And one thing is, as well, is I don't need anyone to believe in me, because I believe in myself. And to me, that's enough. I do appreciate when people believe in me, but I have no expectations. That's actually what I'm trying to say. It's most important for me to be my biggest supporter and not lose my belief in what I do. Because if I don't believe in myself, it doesn't matter who believes in me. It's not going to change anything. I need to change it. And I mean, my husband is my biggest fan, my biggest supporter, and he helps me with everything. And yeah, I'm so grateful.
That actually leads me to a question, because we sort of started this talking about honesty and being able to work with other people, even though you might hold your songs, they might be very precious.
Yes.
So who in your life is someone that you can get really like honest and constructive feedback from?
That's my husband. He will always tell me, like, if something is not, even though I feel sometimes he's a bit biased, because he's my husband and he thinks the world of me, but he is also very honest, and he won't let me do things that is not in my best interest. And also my friend Leo Berg, he's also a musical artist and also a visual artist, and he's also very honest. He will never let me do something that's also not in my best interest. And my best friend Carmen as well. I love her so much. She's quite like straightforward. I'm always scared to ask her for her opinion, because I know she's not going to beat around the bush, but I really do appreciate it. That's what I need.
Yeah, asking for feedback for one thing, taking feedback is another.
Yeah, everyone's sensitive in their own way, and it's hard when it comes to your music and your craft, because you are a bit, not a bit, you are precious about it. But I think it's a very good attribute to be able to take constructive criticism without letting it like wound your ego, if I can put it that way.
Yeah. I see that hubby makes an appearance in the Lige's music video.
Yeah.
It seems like the brief was just have a nice time.
Absolutely. It was definitely just have a good time.
Oh, that's great. Can you tell me about the collaboration process with the band, and like what was different about working with them rather than working on your solo projects?
It was a really good experience, and they're all like amazingly talented. It was very easy as well. It was smooth sailing, if I can put it that way. We all had the same sentiments when it came to what our visions was, and we all knew what we wanted to write about, how we wanted it to sound, and working with them on the music video specifically was also such a breeze, because we said we don't want anything to look staged. We can have ideas, but let's keep it as natural as possible. And because they have a very like they've got this very chill, taking it easy in life type of attitude. And they're very hard rockers, I must say. But it made it easy for me because I'm also that type of person. I'm very organized in my day-to-day life, and I like to know what's next, and I try to stay organized because I struggled with this my whole life, is to find balance. And now that I do have balance, it's very important to me to sometimes also let go. So that day making that music video was so fun because there was just this, I don't know, this beautiful energy of just be yourself and don't overthink anything. Just let the guys take as much footage as they possibly can, and then we'll worry about the rest afterwards in post-production. So, yeah, it was awesome. They're great people. I would highly recommend anyone to do a song with them if they can.
It definitely comes across, like the chilled vibes are there.
Yeah.
And it's very surprising. Like when I saw that band name, I was like, this is going to be metal.
Yeah.
And then it wasn't.
And they do have quite a lot of metal music. No, they wanted to shock their fans as well. They wanted to be like, something's coming, and everybody's obviously expecting this hardcore song. And then it was just this love song, and so soft and beautiful. And I think it's really cool that they also showed a different side of themselves.
Would you ever do something like that? Like, is there a genre that you wish you could explore that's completely different to your territory right now?
I'll definitely not do metal. I do appreciate it though. I think it's really cool, and the musicality going into performing and just making and creating metal music it's incredible. You have to be highly gifted and talented to do it. I wouldn't do it myself because it's just not, I don't resonate with it, if I can put it that way. But I do listen sometimes with my husband because he enjoys like some metal. Sometimes I don't know how to explain what genre I do, but a lot of people said it's kind of like indie folk, or something like that, and a mixture with some jazzy vibes as well. At the moment with Gunnet, I'm exploring a bit of country rock. Some country rock. So that's something new. I feel that people haven't completely heard from me. So I think, that's something to look forward to. I'm looking forward to see people's reactions or hearing their sentiments on this country rock type of route I'm going. But it will only be this one song. It depends. I can't say that actually, but yeah.
Unless we continue to rave about wanting more country from Mia.
Yes, imagine. We're going to turn into this country star.
Just Mia, it's just country now.
Yeah, that's a good one. I might use that.
Well, from what I've heard from Gunnet, I'm definitely getting the country sense. It's sounding good so far.
Yeah. And I think it's produced really well. So we'll see what happens. I'm excited.
If you could collaborate with any local act, who would it be?
That's a hard one for me. I think Good Luck. I really like their vibe and just who they are as artists. I think they always have such good intentions. That's one of them. I'll obviously do something with Francois van Coke. Who I really would like to work with actually is, and record a country song maybe, is Tashay, that I sang with her on The Voice, and we did a battle where she really like kicked my ass. It was so amazing though, and I really still feel like we need to go record Jolene like professionally in studio and release it as a collaboration project. So I would actually love to work with her. There's so many, hey? I would love to work with all my friends. Jarte Kraft, Armand Hubert, Leo Berg. We're actually doing something, but you guys will have to see what's happening there. It's his project, so I don't want to say too much. All my friends, I would literally collaborate with, and that's going to happen. It's inevitable. We just need to make it happen.
I want to know, what was your experience like on The Voice?
It was wonderful. It was quite traumatic, like after everything happened, because you're on such a high, and then obviously when you leave, you leave your friends behind as well. So I went from a high to a low, but it really taught me a lot about myself as an artist and what I want from, from life, from the industry, from music, etc. But overall, it was a wonderful experience. They treated us very well, and it never felt like, I've done idols as well in my life, and idols was quite brutal. It was a very different experience. You can't compare the two, even though idols also did a lot for me in my career and just taught me so much. At the end of the day, I feel like I walked away from both experiences with new knowledge and, just a better version of myself. So yeah, it was a great experience. Nothing to complain about.
Just a quick follow up to that, there, Mia. Looking at the amounts of things and the things that you learned from both experiences, would you say these are things that young, maybe upcoming artists should maybe try? Like, would you recommend that they go through that, or do you reckon it would be a little more fruitful for them to maybe just go completely indie and figure it out as they go? Or would you say that you learned enough from those to actually be like, anyone else that wants to try them out should go through there? Are there any benefits? Are there any sort of drawbacks to it at all?
I mean, there are pros and cons. I feel if you're only a singer, and that's your like goal in life, is to just sing and and not write, and just let other people write for you and go into studio and just release music in that sense, then sure. But if you're an artist that writes your own music and really goes deep to do it, it might not be, especially if you're a very alternative artist, it might not be in your best interest to do that, because it does take a toll on your mental health a little bit. Because I feel like not everyone is made for competition. It's really hard. It's not easy to compete. Art shouldn't be a competition. But I understand that's reality, and that's the world we live in, that there will always be competition. But as an independent artist, most independent artists are independent because they just want to do their own thing. So it would be, I would recommend it if you want to like just kind of toughen up a bit and see what to expect from the industry, and how it will be if you like fully immerse yourself into it. So yes, I would say do it, especially if that is what your intuition is telling you and that is a part of your dream. Then I would definitely recommend it. But if you already know what you want to do in life and you are sure of yourself, don't do that to yourself. It's going to hurt you, and not everybody is built for stuff like that.
You mentioned so many interesting points there, how just taxing it is mentally and such, what sort of aspects would you say? Obviously, competition might, bring about that sort of anxiety, and that you're being compared, with other people and they have their own standards and such, which doesn't necessarily mean that you're a bad, singer if you don't make it all the way. But, is there anything else that you feel like contributes towards it being such a stressful sort of experience? That's the first question. It's two questions, my apologies. And the last question would be, obviously what we end up seeing on our TV screens, right, is sort of like the final product in a way. Apparently there's like some process behind the scenes before we see what we see on the TV. So as a follow-up question to that, there it would be sort of walk us, put us in the shoes of someone who, has entered The Voice or Idols and such, and then what the whole steps are before we actually see what we see on the TV.
Oh yeah, there's like a prelims, so they call it prelims. You have to go through quite a lot of auditions before they really choose you. So what you guys see on TV is where we do a blind audition, or where you do your audition to get the golden ticket for Idols now. And for The Voice, it's the blind audition. But before that, you do at least 3 auditions. So you enter with a video, or yeah, it was with a video at that time. And then they obviously go through this whole process to take 4,000 videos or entries and choose I don't know how many hundreds of those, and then call them in to do an interview and say another audition. And then you have to do it's like a psychological audition, basically, like a psychological test, but that they did over the phone. And then you have to go do your actual audition on TV. And then, yeah, from there, if you get through, you just do all the other stages. And then to answer your question of like, the hardships, anxiety does definitely play a role. I really thought that I would be okay doing the voice because I've done all the other stuff, and I also had anxiety with idols, even though you really try very hard to just not show it. It does come through sometimes. And I thought, oh no, it's fine. I'll be fine this time. I've been to this rodeo before, and I still got anxiety, which is quite normal. I feel like sometimes your nerves really like it drives you when it comes to performing. So it's not all bad. And the thing is, it's TV, it's a very like, it's a hurry up and wait situation. So that's also taxing on your body, but they look after you very well. You're always fed well, and you sleep in hotels, and you get looked after well. It's not that they're not looking after you. It's just, if you're not built for that industry of hurry up and wait and being on your feet basically the whole day, and then waiting, and then they're like, come, do this, do that, and then you wait again for another hour, and that can be mentally taxing, and then you have to make sure that you are well rehearsed, so you try and make space. But what I've realized is take power naps, hey, for anyone doing it in the future. Like, if you've got an opportunity to shut those eyes, do it, even if it's just for 10 minutes, because 10 minutes will make a very big difference in your performance. I remember before my blind audition, I took a nap on the couch, and I can promise you now, it made a huge difference in my performance and my presence, that because I was tired and I needed to just take a moment.
Before I pass on to Meagan, you mentioned a psychological test in there. So what does that sort of contain? How do they go about doing that there? And did it actually help you?
Oh, it's such a long time ago, but I just remember it was kind of like a little interview as well, where they just ask you certain questions of how would you handle this specific situation? What would you do if this happens? I just can't remember specifically what it was, but it was related to, I remember one question now, actually vividly. He asked, what would you do if you forget your lyrics? And I was like, I would try and get close enough on the spot, I'll replace that word with something else. I don't know, because I'm not going to stop. That's just going to make it worse, and maybe people don't know the song that well. So just kind of rewrite it on the spot, I guess. That's what I would have done, It didn't happen to me, luckily, but I don't think I would. I told him I would not just stop dead and have this whole awkward situation. I would rather just keep on singing, even if I just had to do a vocal riff or something.
This is really incredible. Like, thank you for actually going in depth with that there, because as I said, like, all we end up seeing is just what we see on the TV screens. And as you've just explained, it seems like there's a lot more that goes on behind the scenes. So even for anyone who's listening to this and they're considering, trying out what you just explained now should be really helpful. So thank you for that, Mia.
I hope so. Oh, it's a pleasure.
Is there something similar that you do when it comes to live shows? Like just carry on or make up something,
Yes, absolutely. Like I tell my students as well, like, please don't stop, because that is just going to make it a situation, and you don't want that. Most people in the crowd is not even going to know you made a mistake. But if you stop dead, everybody's going to know you made a mistake, because then you give all the attention to it. So I always tell them as well, just continue. Even luckily, I play my own instrument, so if I can dictate where, if I forget a lyric, I could just keep on just strumming my guitar for a while and maybe humming something, and then just gather my thoughts and go on. But for people that, like, for instance, sing on backing tracks, that would be hard. So in that sense, I would just try and get as close to the lyrics as I possibly can and just rewrite them on the spot. It's not very professional, but I think it's absolutely better than just stopping dead.
So would you say this is something that just sort of comes with, the experience, how long you've been playing and such? Or is it something that you found that you just had to maybe sort of train yourself to do? Or does it sort of come with, obviously growing in confidence the more you play and such?
Yes. I think it's a very muscle memory orientated, and because I'm a songwriter, I try and write at least each week. I take time to write, even if it's not, something I'm going to use. It's just to keep that muscle memory going. And I think if you do that as a songwriter, it's much easier to make something up on the spot than comparing it to someone that never writes music. And it's also just training. It comes with years of knowing that if I make a mistake there, I know how to like camouflage it, basically, that only I would know.
Yeah, but also another interesting thing is that, as a musician or whatever it is that you do, there's always the initial part of the journey where you've just started out, and I don't suppose everything was perfect, from the onset. Has there ever been like a blunder at all, right, in the beginning of your journey, or whichever stage you were at when it comes to sort of performing live, and how did you actually go about sort of overcoming that?
And you just push through. I'm trying to think if I ever made like a very horrible mistake where I just, had an embarrassing moment, but no, luckily not. I mean, like when I did the competitions, yeah, sometimes you just forget your harmony and then it's like, oh, you're singing lead. You're not supposed to sing lead. You're supposed to sing a harmony, and then you're so nervous you forget your harmony. But that's why I'm a solo artist, to be honest. I don't like harmonizing.
You're also just that good. You're that good.
No,
Like,
I wish. I wish. Oh, you're so kind, Nasiphi. No, Nasiphi, no, not at all. Like, it's not because of that. I guess it's just, it's either adapt or die. So if something happens in that sense of it's like, oh, I'm making such a huge mistake, I just continue. Like I said previously, I just always continue because there's nothing I can do about it. It's literally in the past now. I can either focus on it and everybody realizes it. Actually, the other day this happened to me, now that I'm thinking of it. So I play harmonica occasionally with some of my songs. And this harmonica I have is quite old, and it has two sides. So the one side is in the key of C, and the other side is in the key of G. And C and G very close to each other, and it's got a little marking at each side of the metal. It's got like a little marking that you can see that's a C and a G, but it's so close to each other, right? So I'm performing at Bailey's in Bedford View, and I want to do my harmonica song now, and I'm like, yeah, no, it's the right key. I put it in, but I actually put it in the wrong side. And I didn't test it. You see, you make small mistakes sometimes, things that you forget about. So I didn't give it a little, usually before I do that song, I give it a little, just like a little blow on the harmonica so that I can hear if it's in the right key. And I didn't do that. And then I'm singing and I'm all passionate and I'm into this. And the harmonica part is coming up and I get to the part and I blow into the harmonica and it's just totally off. It's not even close to the key it's supposed to be. And everybody's just looking at me like, what's happening? And then just laugh it off, I was like, oh, sorry guys, it's the wrong key. So I just took out the harmonica and then I just continued, and everybody was just like so happy and clapping their hands and like, yeah, people are very supportive when things like that happen. And I think just make a joke about it. Don't, because people feed off of your energy as much as you feed off of their energy. So I just made a joke about it and continued.
I really love how you're making me feel like it's more about how you bounce back from, any mistake than it is about, the actual mistake itself. And I
Yeah,
feel like this, the
100%.
way that the way that you handled that whole situation, as you say, you made a joke. It sort of reminds me, or it makes me think of, like, say, for example, your Instagram. Many artists, you'll find that when it comes to things like making mistakes and obviously bouncing back and making a joke like that, there, many artists you'll find are they'd rather show off this sort of like finished products. They're not really willing to show off, what sort of goes on. Like, they don't want to be vulnerable in a way and, crack a joke here and there. And the reason why I say that reminds me of your social media is because, if someone looks at your Instagram, you can sort of see that you aren't just sharing these like corporate, images, professional and everything. That's like literally, it's just the moments, you're there with your partner, and one of the images, one of the images you out, by the sea somewhere, we get to see the real you and such, So is this sort of like a conscious decision that you made to be like, this is the kind of artist that I am, where you maybe pushed towards this sort of direction of just giving us you? What sort of inspired this sort of, decision to basically portray yourself and express yourself in the way that you do?
Well, I did try and be really perfect a very long time ago, and it's so draining and it's not good for my mental health. And I just feel like, what's the point if I can't be myself? Then I just don't want to do anything. Then. And I want people to like me for who I really am, and it just makes my life easier. And there's no mask that I have to put on. I actually had this conversation with the other artists the other day, and they're like, they always want to be perfect, and that's what the big artists overseas also always try to do, like Beyonce, and they're not allowed. It's just an example, the big artists that really like are always a photo ready and they like perfect, you look at them and think, wow, but they're also just human. They just choose to show all the perfect sides. And I was just like, there's so many artists out there, like, for instance, I feel El King is a good, example that they just show who they are, and it makes your life as an artist easier. And it's just my aesthetic, I don't have time to sit and make myself look thinner, with all these apps out there and make my face smaller and this and that. That's not who I am. I don't want people to come afterwards and be like, yo, but you look so different, or your social media is so different to who you really are. Like, I just want them to be like, okay, this is who she is, and I want people to look at me and they can relate, especially women, and be like, this girl reminds me of myself. I don't want them to feel like it's my life and the way I do things or what I have is not obtainable, because it is, and no one's perfect. I also tell my students, like, practice does not make perfect, but it really does make you better. I hate the saying that practice makes perfect, because perfect is an absolute illusion. It does not exist. So I try to keep it as real as I can. I'm not perfect, so I don't want to portray anything like that ever.
As real as you can is the keyword.
Yeah.
From what you just said there, Mia, that you try to keep it as perfect as you can. And obviously I did say that it's very, the aesthetic that you've gone for, it's very accessible. We're able to see you, whether you're making music, whether you're not making music. But there has to be that line, because I mean, it's not to a point where it's like not professional. It's still, you can still see that, these are like really good images, and we know what you're about. If I go on your Instagram, I know what Mia's doing, I know what she's about and such. How do you go about,
Yeah, thanks.
like, do you have some sort of structure, or like, how do you actually decide that this is the image that I'm going to put up today?
No.
This image I'm not going to put up. How do you decide what ends up going up on your social media?
Oh, I wish I could be like, yeah, I plan out my social media. I've got my life in order, but I really don't. If I like something, I'll just put it up. If I feel like I need to share a message with someone, I, I'll put it. Or just, I've got this epiphany of, I want to, inspire someone maybe, and I'm going to use this image, or this works for me. But I don't plan it out. I don't have like, I'm going to try and do it, because I think it will like just help me to balance my life more, is to do like the scheduled posts. But that's also where the keeping it real side comes in. If I schedule everything, then am I really portraying my honest and in real time, authenticity, or who I am? Because imagine just planning your life so far in advance that, I don't know, I would love people to kind of feel like, wow, okay, Mia did that gig yesterday. She put up a photo today. It's like kind of like we're keeping up with her life in real time.
No, it makes a lot of sense, and it's a really awesome approach. It's working for you, Mia.
Oh,
Just
thank you.
props to you. Like, it's the pages are looking clean, so shout out.
That's so cool. I've never that was never the goal, to be honest. I'm just doing what I do, but it's so nice to hear that, because I do try as well. It's not that I don't try it. Social media is quite a burden for me, so thank you for that compliment. I really do appreciate it.
Yeah, no, anytime. I mean, as I said, you've got that sort of balance where it's you're letting us in on who you are, but it's not so like carefree to a point that it's not professional.
Yes.
So
Awesome.
you've worked it out really well. So
Oh,
props
thank
to that one
you.
there.
Mia, you mentioned your students.
Yeah.
Have they heard your music? And if so, how do they feel about it?
Oh, my students are the best. Like, I want to cry when I talk about them, because I always tell people, before I started teaching, I was quite in a bad space, because also lockdown and just life in general. It's hard in this industry to get work sometimes. Sometimes it goes amazing, and then other times it not so amazing. So I always tell people, like, these children truly saved my life, and I can't imagine living life without them. But they're really so supportive when it comes to my music. A mom actually sent me a screenshot the other day of her daughter's like her playlist on Apple Music, and all my songs are on there. So I felt really cool because I was like, okay, she's listening to my music, and my other students, they all know that I am a full-time musician, and most of them listen to my music.
Yesterday, or the other day, Mia, while we on your students as well, thank you for bringing that up as well, Meagan. You mentioned that your students had a little shindig that was on yesterday, well, Saturday. How did it actually go?
Oh,
Did they do well? Did you
amazing,
enjoy the
amazing.
show? What were they doing specifically?
It's a showcase, so they just, they perform, they work really hard all year, and then we have about 2 showcases a year, and it gives them the opportunity to perform on stage. And some of them have done it many times, because I've been working for 3 years now at the music school. So most of my students actually have done this before, so they don't stress anymore and they know what to expect. But some of them are new, and I mean, for them, it's always very stressful, but afterwards they like, oh, I can see they feel like true rock stars. And it always goes well. I've never had a bad experience or where a student forgets their song or anything, because I always tell them, like, listen, the perfect doesn't exist. And like I've said previously as well, I'm going to sound like an old, like an old vinyl, but please just continue when you make a mistake. And it's also just good for them to learn that, because one day when you're in a band, for instance, and you are playing, the lead guitar, or you're doing rhythm, you can't just stop because you made one mistake, because that's going to just not work. And the whole band needs you to just continue and, just get your confidence back. So, yeah, it always goes well, and I'm very proud of them.
Just looking at that there now, it's sort of like when I'm speaking to Mia right now, I can just feel that you are very calm, super chill sort of energy type thing. And I feel like that could be one of
Oh,
the things
thanks.
that could, if I were a parent, I'd be like, well, I'd be comfortable with, sending my child, to come
Yeah.
to your school, and learn and pick up an instrument and stuff. What would you say could be one of the things that you'd say maybe that is maybe different, to maybe other people that have got like music schools and such, or teach music, besides obviously just how brilliant you are and obviously your track record with, your achievements and the shows that you've been on. What would you say, makes your school and the way that you teach, different from maybe say person X or something like that there?
I really feel it is the approach and the modern approach we have with when it comes to specifically teaching guitar. We choose songs we choose old songs and new songs, and we combine them, and it's we don't drill everything in. I remember when I was younger, I went for piano lessons, and it was so tedious to me. I didn't enjoy it at all, and I really truly think it's the material that was used to teach me, and also the teacher. No offense to that teacher, it's not you. It was coming from my side, because I couldn't relate. I couldn't. I wasn't comfortable, and that's okay. But I feel like with this music school is that they have a very modern approach, and they let the children explore and not make them feel like music is just another subject. I always tell my students, you are here to relax and learn, okay? You're not here to stress. You've got enough stress as it is, trying to just, get to your schedule and everything you need to do and study and this and that. When you come to guitar or vocals, I want you to chill and just have a good time. And yeah, so that would be, it's just a different approach. And I know I sound really calm now, but I'm quite an extrovert. It's just, this is quite serious, I'm trying to concentrate and not, take up too much time thinking too long or anything like that. But I think it's very important to make your students feel welcome. And I think my personality helps, because I've got a large personality, but also how I've realized the parents explain, or, they would always say, I've got a warm personality. So the children feel safe. And that's important for them to feel safe. I've got a lot of introverts in my class. And after about a few weeks from where they start till now, if I look back, they completely change the way they are around me. In the beginning, they're shy and it's, they don't say much. But after a while, you have to tell them to be like, okay, you have to stay quiet now because we need to do your guitar lesson, we need to work. So, yeah, it's important to make children feel safe.
That is very brilliant. Is it only kids, or can
No,
I,
anyone.
as a 26-year-old, come
Of
through?
course. I do private. I work through music school, and then I also I have private lessons that I give that I don't do through the music school. My own, my own little project on the side.
All right, that's cool. That's cool. Epic. Meeks?
Is there an instrument that you would love to learn if you could learn any instrument?
Oh, yes. I would like to learn how to play the piano properly, not just chords, like really properly. But I don't know when that's going to happen. Hopefully one day. I need to buy a keyboard first.
At least you've got a bunch of teachers to call on when
Yes, I do, and I'm good friends with most of them. So specifically, my one friend Justin, he teaches with me at this one school, and he's really good at piano, but he's also really good with music theory. So he goes really deep into the theory, and I love that because I learn something new every day. And then I helping him with singing, and we kind of like barter, He teaches me more about theory, and I teach him how to sing.
When you look at the guitar that you use, like firstly, you're using just one guitar, and obviously each guitar would sort of give maybe a different sound, as much as it's still a guitar, but you probably do get a different sound from different guitars, right? So for you, why do you use the guitar that you're currently using at the moment, and basically, are there any other guitars that you've ever used on your journey that you feel like you could go back to, or is there a specific reason why you use the one that you use now?
The guitar that I'm currently using, my husband actually bought for me in 2015, because my very first guitar that I ever got, a friend of mine actually bought it for me. It was a Tanglewood, very entry level, but it was a plug-in, my first ever plug-in guitar that I can use to perform with. It broke, and like the neck broke. It like had this whole like crack in the neck, and anyone that knows guitars know that it's kind of, you can say goodbye to a guitar if the neck is broken. But so I really needed a new one to perform. So he like gathered the family and was like, guys, can we buy me a new guitar? And that's why I've used it ever since, because it's special to me. It was a collective effort to get me that new guitar, and it's quite a pretty penny. The reason why I haven't used other guitars is because I just don't have the money for it, to be honest. It's so expensive, and I really love my guitar. I've been using it since 2015, and I would like to buy any Ibanez electrical guitar as well, because I would like to explore that. But I really do love my guitar, but I won't say no to a new one.
I feel like if Sean was here, or if Marcel was here, you guys would just get along so well because they're like guitar guys. But it's just really
Man.
But it's just amazing just hearing about how you got the guitar that you're playing now and the guitars that you like to get in the near future. I really hope you do get the ones that you're looking out for. I mean, as expensive as they are, there's always sales, and Tom's has that annual sale.
Yeah,
You could pick something up there.
as you just know life and its responsibilities. Like, you always think you're going to spend your money on something that you really want, and if you look at it again, it's like, oh, okay, I need to do something. Something comes by that's more important, or more. There's nothing wrong with my guitar, so why should I just get a new one? But one day I know I'm going to be at a place where I could be like, okay, I want to spoil myself. This year, I'm going to buy myself a nice guitar. I have a nice one. I really do. And I'm very grateful for it. But I know the day will come where I can just choose any guitar I want.
And I hope that comes really soon.
Oh, thank you so much.
What are some of the best venues that you've played at?
Oh, the best venue. Yeah, I love markets. I know it's not like crazy, like, oh my goodness, it's a big show or anything. But the love that I get from children is just out of this world. So I would say any market that I've done has just been so amazing. And I just love the vibe. Bailey's in Bedford View is also quite a good venue. They've got great sound. I love it when there's good sound, because sound can make or break you as an artist. And it's very important that people understand how to, just go about making you sound good. Not that I'm saying that I need sound to sound good. I will sing a cappella for people as well. But sometimes sound can make you sound very dry or just hollow, and it's just not fun. Then you don't enjoy your performance. So Bailey's very, very good sound. Markets I love just because it's the vibe is just amazing, and children always just have the best time, and that just makes my heart so happy. So yeah, I think I'm a market slut, if I can put it that way.
Is there something about the crowd or the atmosphere that just makes it different and that much more enjoyable?
Yeah, everyone is just so no one's rushed. Everyone's there to have a good time. There's no expectation. It's just pure joy. That's how I feel about markets. I think everyone is just there to have a great time, enjoy good weather, listen to some tunes, have some good food. It's just awesome. And weddings. Oh, I love weddings as well. I know this doesn't count as venues, but yeah, a good wedding is great because it's such a beautiful experience. Each time I've sung at any wedding, it's just been, I walked away there a better person,
Speaking of weddings, I saw on your Instagram there as well. Sorry,
Yeah.
I feel like such a stalker, but I've been
No,
trying
man.
to. There's some images of you, and it seems like you were getting married. Congrats! I don't know how long ago that
Yeah.
happened, but it's really awesome. How did you go about
In
picking?
April, actually.
Yeah, nice. How did you go about picking any musicians? I see there's a guitarist in one of them at the back as well. So, do you look for someone that does similar music to you? Do you look at someone who just plays wedding venues? Do you put much thought into that at all?
The thing is, Neil Kruger, that an Afrikaans kuier, but he goes by Neil Kruger, to be honest, so I could probably say it that way. He's one of my friends. We've been friends for many years now. He's an amazing musician. We've been friends since, I think, 2013. Is it 2013? Something around there. I met him at varsity, and we've just been friends forever. And I've got a lot of respect for him as a musician. He's also a DJ, and he does a lot of weddings and events. So I asked him if he will, DJ at our wedding and make music for us. And he was like, yeah, man, of course I'll do that. And I'll sing for you too during the canapes. So I was like, well, no better person I can think of to do that for me. He's so kind, and he actually did it for free, as a wedding gift. And I obviously was so grateful because weddings are so expensive. I can't even explain to you.
It's fairly new. When you mentioned that it happened in April.
Yeah.
So how's it been so far? Especially now when we're looking at your music and you making music and such. Are there any differences from when before you were married to after? Is your hubby supporting you in what you're doing? He obviously must have been, because it's not like you started making music while you were still married and such. So how much of a role does he play when it comes to you making music?
Oh, a big role. I mean, we've been together for 7 years. So, we've been living together for 7 years, since 2015. And we just decided, obviously, to get married now. And so it's nothing new, really, but he's been the biggest supporter ever. I'm so grateful for him. He always does my sound. He travels with me, never misses a gig. I don't think he has not been at one of my gigs. Like, he's just always been at my gigs. I can't think of one gig he's not been at. He does my sound as well, like I mentioned. He packs up for me. He especially after, he helps me set up, then does my sound, and then I think I'm a bit spoiled, to be honest. But I can do all of these things on my own. I can. It's just he doesn't allow me, really. He wants to be there. He wants to support me. And he just loves supporting me. He's never complained. And after I've done a gig, he will pack up my things for me. Yeah, he just treats me like a princess. And I'm getting emotional now. I just love him so much.
Oh, I'm sure he loves you too, Mia. This is so heartwarming.
Now I do feel very loved every day. I'm very grateful.
So Just Mia is actually like secretly a duo. I like that.
It is. He's just behind the scenes most of the time. I wish he could sing sometimes. He tries to harmonize with me, but he's very shy. And he actually started learning how to play the guitar during lockdown, and he really did so good. I'm actually angry at him that he stopped. I'm looking at him now while he's standing in the kitchen. But he's more into like baking breads and stuff, you know. He's an engineer, a mechanical engineer, and mostly does obviously design work. But his passion is sourdough. So he makes everything sourdough, anything you can think of.
That's so unexpected, sourdough.
Yeah.
When it comes to covers, how do you choose your cover songs for weddings versus market shows?
Oh yeah, there's a big difference. I'm glad you asked that question. So for weddings, I usually try to keep it very romantic, you know, typical love songs, and unless the couple, you know, maybe sends me like preferences, then I will do the work, and I will, you know, go see what songs can I prepare and what song suits my voice. It's all about what suits me best. Uh, and if it doesn't, it's fine. I'll just transpose it until it works for my voice. But for markets, for instance, I try to keep it upbeat, you know, happy songs and not too deep and sad. And I do romantic songs as well at markets, but not too many of them. It's mostly like upbeat songs, happy-go-lucky stuff.
And what about festivals? Like, if you could headline for any local festival?
Rocking the Daisies. Rocking the Daisies, or even like Park Acoustics. But you know what? I'm very guilty there because I never, you know, life just gets so busy, and I know I mustn't make excuses, but I never send my things for stuff like that. I did do Art Club, which is a very, you know, it's a festival that has gone on for many years. It's changed a lot, and I did that the other day in Potchefstroom. I actually studied there, so it was kind of cool to go back. And that is quite like a big festival that's been happening for many years now. And I've done that in 2019 as well. So that's one that I, you know, do on a regular basis. But I haven't really actively tried to do, you know, get into festivals. I think because the idea of traveling, maybe have to stay in a tent. I am a musician, but I'm just not in that phase of my life anymore, you know, where I would go for a whole weekend to a festival. But I know I should do it because it's exciting and it's fun and it's about performing. But I would actually just like to go perform, maybe have 2 drinks and come home, you know, and just curl up on my couch and maybe smoke something, you know, and just have a good time in my own home. I'm quite a homebody, even though I am extroverts. I like just staying at home, but I should do it more. I know I'll enter myself into, I'll submit to do more festivals. I promise.
We're almost at the end of the show. Yeah. I just wanted to ask, because this is something that you mentioned before the last question. Sourdough, is it actually sour?
No, it's not sour. I don't know why they call it sourdough, to be honest, but it's basically a living organism. So oh man, I need my husband to explain this to you. It's slightly
He can
sour.
come through.
Yeah.
He's more
You
than
want to come
welcome.
through? Oh, he's very shy. He's the biggest introvert on earth, but a very cool one, I promise. He says it does have a slightly sour. It does have a slight, but it's not sour. You know, it's not like it's got a slightly sour taste to it. It's very good for your gut because it's basically bacteria, good bacteria that you make it from. So he makes pasta, he makes tortillas, he makes bread. That's the initial thing he started with. Anything you can think of, like, you know, like kombucha. It's also live properties in their bacteria that's very good for your gut health. And sourdough is the same like idea.
So you guys don't ever have to like buy bread or factor that into your budget, because I
He
mean,
never buys
hubby's
bread
there.
anymore.
Yo,
Never. He bakes a bread every Sunday. sometimes during the week as well. We haven't bought a bread, I don't know, in how many, maybe last year for the last time, because he's gotten so into it. I don't eat a lot of bread. It sometimes gives me heartburn. So, but I do eat his bread occasionally.
Does he make good bread though? Like, is it good? Just between the three of us. He doesn't have to know.
It's amazing.
Okay.
I promise.
Okay.
It's the best ever. And he makes amazing sourdough pizza. We're actually going to eat some of it tonight.
Hey, super glad. Listen, Mia, thank you so much for having this conversation with us. This has really been wholesome. I'm sorry I missed half of it, but I know that you were in good hands because Meagan is just a legend. So
she's awesome.
Definitely. Both of you are awesome, in fact. So thank you for spending this time with us. And getting us in on your life and such. Before we close out and get handles from you, is there anything you just might want to say, maybe, whether it be to your students or whether it be to anyone that's been supporting you thus far?
I want to say thank you to everyone that supported my journey. It hasn't been easy, and there was a lot of times where I was like, am I doing the right thing? Especially when it comes to finances. It's really hard in the beginning, but it's paying off now. And I'm so grateful for everyone's support. And to anyone that's, kind of thinking of doing the same thing and just taking that leap of faith, do it. You won't regret it. And even if nothing comes from it, you would at least know you tried, and that's all that matters. And you will never know if you don't try. So, yeah, I would love to encourage anyone that has this, burning desire in them to make their dreams come true. Just do it. You owe it to yourself. You only have this one life, and well, maybe you have more, but this specific one, make the most of it and do what your heart and your soul needs. Yeah. And thank you to you guys for, reaching out to me and asking me to do this. I really appreciate it so much.
We're going to be playing out with Gun It by Just Mia. It's a brand new one. She released this 2 days ago. So we're super excited to probably be one of the first platforms, to play out with this. Yay, us. It's an exclusive. Yay. But yeah, while we still here, obviously handles Mia, where can people get in touch with you?
Awesome. Thank you so much. You can just follow me on any social media platform at Just Mia Music. They are all the same.
And obviously you can catch all our episodes on our website, www.sledgeunderground.com. That's where you'll find absolutely everything. Our merch is on there. Get yourself some of that merch. And obviously we have 5 episodes remaining in the year. So we're super excited to close off the year. And thank you to the person or anyone who's been listening to this. We really appreciate you tuning in. We're going to be closing out with Gun It by Just Mia. It's a brand new one. Until next time, it's bye for now.
So you leave things and things leave you, because you don't think them through. Keeping your eyes on the prize, but don't forget to live your life. And may I give you some advice, just some pointers to do it right. And may I give you some advice, lock and load and hit the road. You better gun it. You better gun it. You better gun it. And don't you dare run from it. You better gun it. Don't you dare run from it. You better gun it. So you don't know where to go, but you just gotta go with the flow. Learn to know the definition. Let your whole life be a full moon. And may I give you some advice, just some pointers to do it right. And may I give you some advice, lock and load and hit the road. You better gun it. You better gun it. You better gun it. And don't you dare run from it. You better gun it. And don't you dare run from it. You better gun it. give your all.